This is a fun one. This person wrote, my fiance doesn't want to split bills 50-50, even though I've made it clear I can't afford paying a higher amount. My fiance and I finally found a cheap apartment we're interested in moving into. She makes a bit more money than I do, but not by much. The problem is my personal expenses are a bit more than hers with my student loans, car loans, and other bills. She doesn't believe we should split the household bills 50-50 or even 60-40. She wants me to be paying the majority so she has more leftover money at the end of the month. Her reasoning boils down to believing I, as the male, should be the provider and that she should be able to save towards the wedding instead. I've made it clear I simply can't afford to do that unless I reside to sitting in the apartment and not doing anything else. I'd struggle to afford tolls, gas, car maintenance, etc. It would be a nightmare for me. Where do I go from here?
This is super interesting and kind of crazy.
Yeah.
She just basically wants someone to take care of her. Now, I know she's saying that she's saving for a wedding, but like, it doesn't seem like your current lifestyle and the income you're bringing in is creating a life where you can have, not put any of your money towards the bills and have a husband that takes care of you and you just put your money aside. It's just not realistic. And I hate that he's been saying this and, she's not hearing it. I don't know. This is interesting to me because I'm like, if this is a partner that you're going to spend the rest of your life with and they're not hearing you and they're just saying like, okay, I don't really care that you don't have the money, but I want to put this money towards the wedding instead. That's a red flag for me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, this person doesn't it doesn't sound like she's like, they don't sound like they're being a partnership right now. No. It sounds like you said, she wants someone to take care of her so she can focus her money towards something else. Now, granted, like, she wants to focus her money towards the wedding, which is going to be a joint thing. So that's the only part where I'm like, okay, maybe they're just not on the same page. But either way, like I feel like when you are getting ready to get married, like having these arguments about money now, like what is it going to be like once you are married? Is she going to still have the same expectations? And if those expectations, like, if she wants to be someone who doesn't have to work as much so that her husband can take care of her, which, there's no problem with that if you two are in that financial situation. If you're not though, and that's what she just expects, it's like, you gotta meet, where you're at in reality, right? Like you two have to be willing to do what's necessary if that's what your reality looks like. And right now it sounds like she's not willing to acknowledge like, hey, this is our situation. And so I got to set aside what my expectations are and let's deal with the reality of our situation. Then we can kind of work towards that life that we both want to craft. It just doesn't sound like she's willing to work towards that though.
Yeah. It seems like she's sort of living in like fantasy land. Like,
yeah,
I don't really care how much you make. You're just going to pay all the bills and I'm going to save for the wedding. And he's like, I literally can't do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a crazy situation because, this is somebody that you're going to marry and like, they're just not even, I would feel disrespected in the fact that I've told you my situation. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And you're still kind of saying like, as a male, you should be providing. And this person is like, here's my paycheck. I can't do that.
Yeah. It's one thing to be like, that's what I want. And it's another thing to be like, look at the money in our bank account. Like we need both of our incomes to just make it through.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough situation because it's like, how do you say like, you two are working towards getting married right now. And it's like, well, this person clearly isn't taking into consideration like your personal well-being, your ability to have like flexibility with your income to do things other than just work and pay bills,
Yeah.
And again, like it just, I think it would, I don't know. It's tough to say because if she was like, no, I just want to have my income just to have my income and do whatever I want with it, I would totally be like, that's 100% red flag. I don't know if you two should get married, but because she's like, I want to be able to save towards the wedding. That's the only thing that's keeping me like, okay, like maybe they just need to be on the same page about how to do this,
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's kind of holding me up off of saying like this doesn't sound like it's working.
Yeah, I agree. If she was, like you said, if she wasn't saving towards the wedding, it would be a very different conversation. I think she's more of like, let's live on your income and save all of mine for our wedding. But for me, if he cannot afford that to make that happen, then maybe you need to either reduce your wedding budget or push the wedding further into the future so that you both can still contribute to the bills. And, both maybe put aside some money for this wedding as far as that goes. But it sounds like to me they need some more time. But also they need to get on the same page because if she's really still like, no, I don't want to do this, then it's like, like you said, it's only going to, get worse from here. It's not going to change when you get married. Yeah. Things are still going to be the same. She's going to have these expectations. So it's like, do you want that? If so, go for it. If not, then you probably need to take a step back and reevaluate the situation. I don't know. This is sad.
Yeah, it's a tough situation. And like, I think the important thing to know is like, Lauren, you and I think have different ideas of how to manage, finances as married couples, but I think at the core, like the level of respect and then the values around money, those are the same, And so how you actually go about doing that is different. It seems here like whether this person was like, we want to split it 50-50 or, one of us wants to combine, the other person doesn't. Like here, it just seems like there isn't that level of respect. There isn't that same like baseline of like, hey, we have the same values for how to handle our money. One of those is like, hey, I don't want to be working just to pay bills. Like I want to be able to work, pay bills, and enjoy our life a little bit and save for the wedding. It doesn't seem like they have that same, the same value system when it comes to money, which regardless of how you two decide to manage your finances together, like if you don't have those same values, even if you're talking about two systems that can work perfectly fine, like it's not going to matter. Like it's going to fall apart at that point.
Yeah. They need to have a serious conversation before, if he takes all this on and then is miserable because he's going to resent her if he does end up doing this, and then she's saving everything for the wedding, which like you said, it could be, this is like an iffy situation, but it could be a good thing for her to save for the wedding. But at the same time, if you can't afford your lifestyle, that's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
The information, opinions, and recommendations provided on this podcast are for entertainment purposes only and do not constitute professional financial advice. Any financial decisions you make based on the content of this podcast are your responsibility. We strongly recommend consulting with a licensed financial advisor or other qualified professional before making any significant financial decisions. By listening to this podcast, you acknowledge that we are not liable for any financial outcomes.